Hi, this is Kasem. Well, it's taken them 6 albums and 10 years, but the Red Hot Chili Peppers have finally scored their very first number one, Under the Bridge. To get to the top, the LA band has survived personnel changes, label shakeups, and even the death of one of their members. Now they have a new challenge, with big movers like Celine Dion, Sophie B. Hawkins, and Michael Jackson climbing up the chart. Will those Red Hot Chili Peppers hold on to that hard-earned number one for a second big week? To find out, join us as we count down all the biggest hits in the USA on Casey's Top 40.
Last week I mentioned they were playing down in New Zealand. Meanwhile, they had to cancel because the guitar player left the band. But I'll bet they make it down there eventually.
We're coming to you from Hollywood, and moving back up a notch to number 28 are the Red Hot Chili Peppers, a band familiar with Hollywood. While still in his teens, Anthony Kiedis tried acting, and his first movie role was as Sylvester Stallone's son in the movie Fist. In his current role of lead singer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, here's Anthony Kiedis with Other Side.
American Top 20!
Well, now we're up to an American Top 20 Extra by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, a band whose leader, Anthony Kiedis, decided he wanted to be an adventurer. And after one adventure said, never again. It was back in 1994. During a break from recording and touring, Anthony Kiedis decided he needed a little more excitement in his life and traveled to Borneo. Now, Borneo is the world's third largest island, and it's still very primitive there. Anthony spent several weeks on the island. There were wonderful moments of peace and serenity that he wrote about in a book called The Great Borneo Expedition. But there were also times when Anthony was sure he'd made a terrible mistake. Quote, "It was too difficult. It looked good on paper, but it was hundreds of miles of uncharted rainforest with no food supply. We fell to pieces, and it was very difficult getting out." Still, it was a learning experience. And what Anthony Kiedis learned was, never again. Now, with an American Top 20 Extra, here's Anthony Kiedis and his band, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, with Scar Tissue.
Casey's Coast to Coast.
Well, now we're up to an American Top 20 Extra by Red Hot Chili Peppers, a band whose lead singer recently published his autobiography, a book that one critic called, quote, "the most honest portrait of addiction I've ever read." Anthony Kiedis has been in band since 1978, and after 25 years making music and living the life of a rock star, he decided it was time to put it down in writing. With the help of writer Larry Sloman, he assembled a memoir called Scar Tissue, and it's been getting great reviews. Anthony writes about life with his drug dealer father, who wanted to name him Clark Gable Kiedis. He writes about having a babysitter named Cher, the same Cher who went on to fame as a singer and actress. He writes about dating Sinead O'Connor and being dumped by her. But most of all, he writes about the many years he spent battling drug addiction, a period of his life that he describes as, quote, "real humiliating, horrifying, and humbling." And he writes with such intensity about his problems that the critic in Rolling Stone wrote that, quote, "if you've ever wondered what it's like to be an addict, read this book." Anthony Kiedis spares no details. He writes about it all. Now, with an American Top 20 Extra, here's Anthony Kiedis and his band Red Hot Chili Peppers with their song about heroin addiction. From 1992, Under the Bridge. From 1992, those are the Red Hot Chili Peppers with an American Top 20 Extra, Under the Bridge.
Counting down the hits with Casey Kasem.